Oh, no, thank you. That is very nice of you.
Very nice of you.
Okay, we got 17 and 18. They both should be on.
Yes, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And guys, real quick, I just got a notice on my schedule. (10:02). It is time for Chicago Now. Caitlin Cody back in the house. She was gone yesterday because it was her oldest's first day of kindergarten.
First day of kindergarten, I know.
Kleenex. How did it go? How was it? Was it
First of
emotional?
all,
Was it emotional for everybody?
Let me apologize again to you, Anthony, because I know my breath is going to smell like Ritz crackers.
No, you're fine.
I just ate a whole sleeve of Ritz crackers, and I meant to grab gum, and I apologize.
Stop.
Anyways, talking about yesterday, yeah, it was a great day. I think I had a little bit of nervous energy, so I was just super productive all day yesterday.
Oh.
So we got up, got Bird ready, got her dressed, lunch packed, all the things, dropped her off, came home. Then I proceeded. Maybe it's because at work, you know how we get to work and it's like da-da-da-da-da, like we're cruising, we're going.
Yeah.
So at home I had that work energy,
so
I took it out on my house.
Oh, yeah.
So there was two like hot spots. I know you mentioned, and I thought about you, how you cleaned your garage out not too long ago. Your dad helped you.
Yes.
So that was on my mind too, because my garage was nasty, so was my basement. So I started on accident, kind of. I went downstairs to put something down there, and I was like, ooh, oh no, you know what happened? The other day we had a bunch of rain. So one of the frogs that snuck into our window well, so I got it out. When I was down there, I saw all these bugs, like just spiders everywhere. My basement's not finished. I was like, I gotta clean this is gross. So yesterday was the day, and I got my vacuum, sucked up all the dead bugs, but then I saw something like, my eye caught something on the ground and got closer, and it turns out, okay, so a couple months back, we had a sump pump that went out, and like the tube was cut. It wasn't supposed to be cut. So we had to get an extended tubing, and we put it all the way through to the back of the yard. But it's been like this for 2 years now, like cut. So we had frogs that were coming in through the sump pump and living in our basement.
Through the old pipe.
Yeah, because I think they could escape. But now it's connected. So sadly, I found a deceased frog on the floor of my basement yesterday. He was all shriveled up, tiny, and it made me really sad. And I thought, oh, this is probably one of the frogs that was living in the sump pump, but gross, okay, also. And I'm glad that I got the vacuuming done yesterday. So it was a very fun day. Then we had a pizza party.
For the first, in honor of the first day?
With a couple of the kids in the hood.
And how was the first day?
It was good.
It's a long day.
It is long.
Yeah,
I think
she was saying 8:30 to 3:30 for a kindergarten.
It was like
9
it's like 9 to 3:45. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be my only complaint. Birdie had a great time, but I was like, was it a short day or was it a long day? She goes, it was long and like longer after that.
It'll start feeling more normalized. It'll start.
Thank
well,
you.
I'm glad that was done and you resolved the frog issue. Yeah. We missed you, but congrats on having a kindergartner.
I know, I keep getting like notifications on my like parent app, and I'm like, oh, this is fun. Do I get a picture? You know what I mean? Like, tell me
come in
everything.
throughout the day. It's a different story these days. We get constant updates for those to-be parents to be out there.
Notifications.
It's a wild world.
I like it.
With this. Okay. Our first guest, is now on the line. We are talking about TMZ's Michael Babcock. Hello, Michael.
Good morning.
You are an official friend of the show, sir. It is always great to see you.
I feel like a regular at this point.
Yes,
You are.
indeed. By the way,
how'd the procedure go last week?
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking. The procedure went
I've been
well.
I've been thinking about you, and especially when I knew we were going to talk today. How'd it go?
You're so sweet. I've got my what is this called?
Compression sock.
My legging
you got a
on.
compression sock?
I'm going to wear it for 2 weeks. Okay, we have no blood clots after the procedure. Actually, as I'm feeling my leg right here, it's still numb, but we're healing. We are rocking.
on the mend, Michael Babcock.
On the mend.
I could not be happier. That's what I love to hear.
Now you can sleep at night.
Yes,
I'm all right.
indeed.
Thank you.
You are updating us this morning on a couple of trenders here.
Yeah.
One of them has to do with Wendy Williams. Now, this has been kind of a sad saga to watch unfold. Her lawyer is pushing back hard against reports claiming that she has dementia and aphasia, pointing the finger at a possible leak from someone tied to her guardianship. Update us on what is happening with Wendy Williams.
This Wendy thing has been such a roller coaster of a ride. If people aren't aware, she is under a guardianship. It might be called a conservatorship in some states, but the reality is, for Wendy, she doesn't make her decisions, day in, day out. She lives in an assisted living facility in a memory care unit, which is very restrictive. She doesn't have control over her finances. She can't come and go as she pleases. And she wants out from that. She says, through her attorney, Joe Tacopina, who is one of the most, renowned defense attorneys in the country, that she's fine, that she's not sick, and that she, again, should not be living under these conditions. She was diagnosed with those two things, with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. And aphasia is what Bruce Willis has. And if anyone has seen Bruce Willis's condition recently, it can just ravage you and drastically change your life. And that's what they say she has. Wendy has pushed back on that. She said, no, I don't have that. That's not the diagnosis. So they finally sent her to be retested. And there was a report this week from People magazine, and they spoke with some source of theirs, that Wendy had once again been diagnosed with this frontotemporal dementia and the aphasia again, backing up the original diagnosis and seemingly then sending the message, she is where she needs to be, because this is the level of care that Wendy needs. Tacopina tells us, no, this is false, that it's not a true and accurate report. And like you said, that whoever is giving this information to People magazine is somebody who's got some ulterior motives, and those motives are not telling the truth and are not Wendy's best interests or her well-being. So you hear it yesterday and say, all right, well, at least there's going to be some sort of resolution to this situation. And now it seems like we're back at square one. They say she's got this disorder. She says she doesn't, and the fighting continues.
That seems like such a sticky situation. I would assume that this is one of those deals where it's a court-ordered doctor given to her to get the test done. So this isn't something that she can't, because she needs to have multiple opinions, I'm sure.
Right.
But she can't pick the doctor. That's
right. I think that's a great point, and I think Joe Tacopina, knowing him and having spoken with him even about this case, I think those are things that he's fighting and trying to make sure that she sees a doctor that they feel, not saying the state doctor is not impartial, I don't know, but I'm sure they want to go to somebody that they know for a fact is impartial and they can get a true diagnosis here, because it's so critical to what ultimately happens with the guardianship. She wanted to go back to work. She wanted to go back to work on television. Obviously, if she's in this memory care unit, that's not going to happen. So there's really a lot on the line for Wendy, and she's still a relatively younger person. She doesn't want to live in an assisted living facility, and she wants out.
Right.
Before we talk about Kid Cudi and the latest there with regards to the recent Diddy trial, can you update us on what you do know about Wendy Williams' current living situation? You mentioned it's an assisted living facility, and she doesn't really have freedom to come and go.
She doesn't. She doesn't even. She can make phone calls out, but she can't even receive phone calls in. She has to stay on this one floor. It's the 5th floor of this building in Manhattan, and she has no real ability to go anywhere, certainly not to leave the building. It was a big deal a couple of months ago when she went out to dinner. She had to get special permission, and there had to be somebody there with her, sign her out, sign her back in. So it's not the way she wants to live right now, and she is still living there, and she's been there for more than a year now at this point. There was one time when one of our camera people was actually down there on the ground, and Wendy is crying, and she's pressed against the window.
I remember the shot. I remember that exact shot. She's looking down.
Yeah, it was a striking image. Yeah, bottom line, she really wants out of there.
How
and she sounds a lot better than she did. I'll say that much.
I just don't understand, like, human rights. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can we keep her locked in this building without
She's an adult.
Right.
Exactly. Even if she does have mental health issues, okay, sure, don't give her a television show, but let her have basic human
Bruce Willis
rights.
is with his family. I mean, like,
exactly. That is wild.
That's so important. You've got to do the least possible. To have. I mean, she's got less rights now than some prisoners do.
Exactly.
I think that's just a reality.
She's not in prison. This is crazy.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the update there. Before we let you go, want to talk about Kid Cudi. We understand he is breaking his silence about that dramatic testimony in Diddy's criminal trial. Yeah. He says he did not want to do it at all, but did it for the sake of his ex, Cassie. I think, I remember him testifying that he claimed at the trial that Diddy burned out his car, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was in a trial full of, I think, many memorable moments. That was one of the most memorable because you've got this other guy who is a star, and he's in the courtroom with this massive star in Diddy, and he's testifying to the fact that that Diddy either did it himself or he asked or ordered somebody to drop a Molotov cocktail into his Porsche and burn the car and break into his home, and all of these really terrible and crazy things. So he goes on the Call Her Daddy podcast with Alice Cooper, obviously one of the most popular podcasts out there now. And he says, I said no to the federal government multiple times. They asked me to testify. I said no. They asked again. I said no. And then I got the subpoena in the mail, and he knew at that point he had no choice. So he shows up to court. He said he didn't know what to wear. He's a stylish guy. He wanted to make sure that he had the right outfit on. But you're right. Ultimately, he said, I love Cassie as a friend, although they did date at one point. But he says, I love her as a friend. I wanted to be there for her. And I think bottom line, even more so than the subpoena ordering him to be there, I think the reason that he was ultimately there is because he does have a lot of love, even to this day, for Cassie, and he wanted to be there to support her. Ultimately, they probably end up losing. It was a mixed verdict, but I think Diddy probably leaves this thing a winner because he beat the most serious charges, and he was convicted on the 2 least serious charges.
Right.
Do you think, if Kid Cudi's talking about his car being blown up, someone breaking into his house, he was probably scared of retaliation if he did say anything. Have you heard of any reports since?
No, you know what? I haven't, but that's a great point. I think it's not just Cudi now. I think it's anybody who testified now, because the reality is that Diddy before was facing up to life in prison. Now, while he is facing technically, in the absolute worst case, 20 years in prison, he is likely going to do something like 1, 2, 3 years in prison, and then he's going to be out. And I think, people who Diddy may have perceived as having crossed him, you wonder if those people are worried. They painted him to be a terrible person, a monster on trial. So if he actually is that guy, I would probably be scared myself too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the sentencing itself, refresh our memories, is that happening sometime this fall?
October 3rd, yeah. So
October 3rd.
Yeah, he's asked for bond a bunch of times, even after he was convicted. He said, hey, I wasn't convicted on any charges of violence. Can you let me go? And the judge said, no, you're going to stay in there until October 3rd, and again, probably beyond. How far beyond, I think, is the biggest question right now. Now,
after the sentencing, is there a chance that P. Diddy's legal team then goes on offense? And there could be any, Caitlin asked about backlash for some of these allegations. With Kid Cudi or maybe others who testified against him.
Yeah. He's got the means, right? A lot of times that's a barrier to going after somebody legally. You just don't have the money to do it. Right. He's got all the money in the world, so that's not an option. I think it's probably going to come down to, for him, he wants to try and get past this somehow. I don't think people are ever going to forget about this, but he wants to try and move past it. If he does choose to embroil himself in lawsuits going forward, then he is kind of choosing to keep himself in the middle of this. So that's the only reason I may doubt that would happen, but I think he's got the means to do it. And if he says, hey, forget it, I want to go after these people who went after me, he could, absolutely.
So when someone goes to jail or to prison, especially, what happens to their money? Is it just like locked up? Because you say he has the means, so he still has a lot of money. Yeah.
In this case, it'll just be sitting there waiting for him when he gets out.
Okay.
Obviously, in situations there might be restitution, or there might be court costs and fees to pay, and there likely will be in this case, and we'll find that out in October. But yeah, it'll just be sitting there. The many hundreds of millions, if not more, will be sitting there for him when he gets out.
Michael, I got to ask you this. It kind of raised the question, kind of what he's a relatively young guy. I'm guessing he's in his 50s or so.
Yeah.
And he's got a ton of money. He's not looking at a lengthy prison sentence.
No.
What are there any other kind of stars? I guess R. Kelly, or maybe like that have just been pushed out of Hollywood, because like you were saying, his reputation is not really going to recover after that video. What do you see?
I don't know if it will.
The future
it may.
for him be?
I remember, you know what? Because I've learned my lesson here. I remember when O.J. Simpson got out of prison in Nevada years ago, and I said, surely he's going to be a pariah. Like, nobody's going to want anything to do with this guy. And then every other day, you got people like sending us pictures here. Here's O.J. Simpson at so and so bar with his fans, and he was like he was the mayor. So
that's a good point. It's hard to hard to predict.
And we've already heard
he
wants to have a concert at Madison Square Garden. So that's Diddy's plan.
It's almost like when you're famous, you're famous. If people know your name,
any publicity is good publicity.
They don't care.
Right, good or bad.
That's the ugly side of fame.
All right. Well, always good to see you, sir. If we don't see you tomorrow, have an awesome weekend, and maybe we'll check in next week.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael. All right, always good to talk to Michael. Now,
I'm hearing these. Do you hear this?
Yes, we have. Are they rehearsing the
Air and Water show? They must be, because we're hearing some jets.
Either that or the National Guard is coming to Chicago a little bit early.
What's happening out there?
Oh, man.
I keep hearing it. I don't know if you guys could catch it on our mics even. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that was definitely the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds or someone like that.
Look up at the sky, though, if you guys are in Chicago.
Okay, here's a question for the group here.
Okay.
I'm guessing the answer is yes, universally for this. If anyone's ever been in a workplace at any time ever, you are no stranger to the meeting. That meeting that drones on and on and on, and at the end of the meeting, everyone says to themselves,
that could have been shorter.
Or that could have been an email.
Yeah.
That could have been an email or a text that went out. We are going to be speaking coming up with a workplace efficiency expert about bad meetings. Why they're not just annoying, they can actually drain your team's soul, and how workplaces, bosses, management can address this ongoing problem. So we're going to check in with Selena Rezvani right after this short break. Stay with us.
10:20, welcome back to Chicago Now. All right, you guys, let's be honest. Meetings can sometimes be a bummer when you're at work. Could have been an email, maybe even a, hey, stop by your desk. Instead, they just drone on and on and on. So our next guest says that bad meetings aren't just annoying, they can actually drain your team's soul. Selena Rezvani is a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and leadership coach who's trained teams at places like Microsoft, Pfizer, and Nestle. She's got a brand new book coming out this fall called Quick Leadership, all about how to create a thriving work culture. And today, she's joining us to share simple, real-world tips to make our meetings way more productive and way less painful. Good morning to you, and thank you for coming on this morning.
Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm hoping that all our managers and executive producers are tuning in right now.
Yeah.
And are taking careful notes. All right, Selena, let's start off by asking you this. What do you see as the biggest mistake that corporate leaders are making when it comes to meetings?
Well, we know from employees that they say a majority of their meetings are unproductive, right? So the biggest mistake I talk about in Quick Leadership is treating meetings like a default, for any conversation, even when it's not necessary or doesn't require two-way communication. So that's a huge thing. And after that, two big culprits are unclear purpose. Why are we all gathered here today? And unnecessary attendees. Why was I invited? Right? And so when leaders set meetings with those things, it is guaranteed to waste time and frustrate your group.
Why do you think that these managers are calling these meetings? Is it because they want to have a checklist of things that they've done with their group that they can show to their upper management?
That's a really good question. And I think some of it is good old habit, not being discriminating about your people's time, that it just seems easy to go ahead and put a meeting on the calendar. But I use this analogy of calling on Batman with people. On a given day, Batman is hard at work in the Batcave, assessing crime, working on innovative tools he's going to use. But when he gets that bat call, right, the signal, he stops everything and goes to respond. And it's kind of like that for your team, right? There's this bat signal every time you call a meeting that disrupts them from that deeper, more meaningful work.
So what would be a rule of thumb then when to call a meeting? You said don't use it as a default, don't use it as a crutch, don't invite extra attendees. But when should a meeting be the way to go?
So a meeting should be the way to go when you have a clear purpose, you have a goal, right? You have the least amount of right attendees. Okay, so you're not adding on Joey from over here and Joanne from over there just because. You're really thinking in a selective way, using people's time well, and that you can walk out of that meeting with some kind of plan, something concrete. And that's why it's really important to give people closure at the end of a meeting. It can feel a little bit formal, but it means something to say, here's our action items and here's our owners for each of these items.
As you're guiding managers, do you find that meetings that are done over Zoom or over the phone where people can be at their own, cubicles and then also on these meetings, are those effective, or is that just, again, wasting time? Would it be better to get everybody together face to face sometimes instead of those Zoom meetings?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. It is worth the time, but you have to use your management skills a little bit differently and really facilitate. I see managers in remote or hybrid meetings use almost none of the tools available to them. Right? So you need to maximize every tool available to you. When you give a prompt, ask people to give some responses in the chat, answer a quick poll, come off mute to share a comment. You want it to be highly interactive so people working remote feel included. The other thing, we've all probably experienced this, is you miss some of the casual interaction moments when you're that remote person. So as the manager, I would encourage you all to go out of your way to include those people. You know, if someone makes an unclear comment or a few people are located in the same room, someone makes an inside joke or, you know, says something unclear, go ahead and explain it for the greater good. You're going to make those people feel part of things, connected, boost their morale.
Mm-hmm.
Anecdotally speaking, do the bosses and managers like these meetings? Is it only the employees that are being negatively impacted by this? Or is everyone just going too oftentimes through this exercise that actually no one in the room wants to be doing?
That's a great way to say it. And managers feel this way too. I don't think they're, championing these on their own, kind of in their own world. They are also required to do it. And some people would argue managers have even more meetings. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more of a workplace culture issue that Gen Z, some of the youngest workers, even millennials, are questioning more. And I think it's time for that questioning, for us to use these meetings when we really need them, but to use tools we have, Slack, other tools for that asynchronous communication.
So this is kind of a funny comment. I've seen this on social media and I've witnessed it myself. When you're in a meeting and there's one person, maybe two, that just talk to have their voice be heard, is this beneficial or is this just making you look bad when you're that person?
Yeah, it's not beneficial. It's not. It's an easy way for people to be frustrated with you and feel like you're not inclusive. You don't care what other people's perspectives are. So I think it's a great thing for all of us to have some awareness about. One way you can do that is give yourself some imaginary chips. If you're one who talks a lot, meaning you have 3 or 4 chips, and once you use those up each time you talk, it's time to give it to somebody else, to give somebody else a turn.
I love it.
And as a manager, yeah, you have a great opportunity too to jump in and say, hey, we've heard a lot from the East Coast today. I'd really like to hear from the West Coast.
That's a very good point. You also, I'm told, have a phrase. I don't think I can say it on TV, but I'll use a euphemism here. Be the, we'll call it poop umbrella. Well, be the poop umbrella. What does that mean for leadership and meetings?
It means protecting, being that shield for your employees so that you're not giving them on loan to any project or department that asks for their help. You are shielding them from distractions when they really need deep focus, let's say, to deliver on a project. Okay, you're thinking about their time, and it often requires you to advocate for your team or to say no to the multiple requests coming at them.
Okay, so
I'm gonna clip that.
Yeah, right.
And just send it out at here.
I love that.
Yeah. No, our managers do a pretty good job.
So speaking of meetings and what's right, so we're talking about what's wrong. What in your mind is the picture perfect meeting? How does it go, start to finish?
Well, one of the big hallmarks of it is that there's not a monologue. You don't have the manager speaking alone and no other voices in the room, right? That's not the way to get the best ideas, to innovate and be creative. So I think in the very best meetings, you are rotating facilitators. So you're hearing different voices, and that's such a simple thing, but it creates shared ownership, right? It sparks new ideas. It helps people step up as leaders. And there's some data behind it that just rotating facilitators boosts people's meeting satisfaction by 20%.
Is there any data when it comes to meeting length? Because I know that people's attention spans, especially these days, they're pretty short. We're all super, super busy. What's your advice on what length, rules of thumb in terms of targeting a meeting's length?
Yeah, that's such a practical question. And I think 25 minutes can be a challenge to get a lot across, but that's a good thing. And I like that sweet spot of a number. often because it gives people 5 minutes on one side to collect their thoughts or get ready for a next meeting, which is a reality for a lot of people, those back-to-back meetings. So challenge yourself to keep it slim. It may require you to call it out when people drift off course, off agenda, but you can just say something like, hey, that's important, but for another day.
What advice would you give someone who is sick of these meetings? Like you said, you get interrupted all the time when you're trying to focus like Batman and get stuff done. Should they approach their boss or decline a meeting at work if they're being asked to come, but really it's hindering their workflow?
Yeah, I encourage you to, especially with those meeting series that you find on your calendar. I know in my own case, you can stop questioning the validity of those. Do I belong there? Am I adding value? Does the group need me? So it's a great thing to kind of audit your calendar every quarter to say, can I combine anything? Can I cancel a series that's unnecessary? Can I kind of negotiate with the person when I don't have a clear role or value add? So absolutely you can say no. Even better if you can ask your manager for some air cover. So, hey, I'm getting a lot of requests for my time over here and over there. Do I have your support that if I say no to those, we can proceed? And that can help give you a little more confidence to say no when you have your manager's support.
Yeah, that umbrella. Open up that umbrella. Thank you so much, Selena Rizvani, for the great advice. Really appreciate your time this morning.
It was great to talk to you both. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Have a great weekend. We're approaching the weekend. It's not
Heck
too early
yeah,
to
we
start
are.
saying that on a Thursday.
Sure.
All right, coming up, we are switching gears, and actually this brings back a crazy personal memory for me. Anyone who's been around Chicago for a long time, 2008, actually my first day on the job as a reporter for NBC, this is when I worked across the street here, this happened. A mass murder at Lane Bryant in the store.
This was your first day at work?
My first day.
Did they send you out?
They sent me out.
No.
However, they sent out, this makes sense in retrospect. At the time, I just didn't know what the process was. I didn't know if they wanted team coverage or what. They sent one of our senior reporters to the same scene as I was. And in retrospect, it was totally obvious. This is my first reporting shift, and this is one of the biggest stories nationwide. Yeah, it's still unsolved. The 2008 Lane Bryant murders, as they're now called. This happened, I believe, on a Saturday, and right off the interstate I-80 in Tinley Park. Still a cold case, and it happened in 2008, so going on 17 years now.
Unreal. And
now there is a documentary coming out about the Lane Bryant murders. And coming up after this quick break, we're going to talk to the documentary filmmaker and Karen Conti as well. You'll be familiar with Karen. She's been on the show a number of times here on Chicago Now, and she's one of the Fox 32 legal analysts who's involved with the production of this as well. So it's going to be a fascinating deep dive into the Lane Bryant murders when we come back after this. Welcome back. This is one of Chicagoland's coldest, most notorious, most infamous cases. February 2nd of 2008, an armed robber entered the Lane Bryant location in Tinley Park, right off of I-80, and killed 5 shoppers inside, all women. The identity of the shooter remains unknown to this day. And now a documentary is about to come out. It's telling the story not only of the heinous crime, but also the investigation, where it went, where it stands now. It's called Who Killed These Women? And Charlie Min, documentary filmmaker, joining us now in studio to talk about this project. And I understand we have Karen Conti. Do we have Karen over Zoom right now? There she is. There's Karen. She has been, she's had a close eye on this case for years and years as well, for Fox since the crime was committed. Charlie, I want to start with you. Tell us about the documentary, kind of what inspired the project and what folks are going to learn.
Anthony, I'm a victim-driven documentary filmmaker, and this case is unsolved. This is the largest unsolved mass shooting in the nation today.
No way.
This is going on 18 years, okay? Enough is enough. Tinley Park PD, I don't question their effort. I question the result. For crying out loud, it's unsolved. Solve it already.
So how did you become involved with making this documentary? So you said you do these documentaries, but how did you get attracted to this particular case?
It's unsolved, period.
Yeah.
There's no justice. And I'm a victim-driven filmmaker. I talk to the families. Just to give you a quick example, one of the victims' moms passed away a year ago, not knowing.
No closure.
No justice.
How old were the victims?
30s. One was actually 22 years old. She had just graduated from college.
Oh.
So this is a tough one. Another victim left behind a 1-year-old baby.
No.
Another victim had her child had a disability, a spinal cord problem, and that kid desperately needed
Oh my God.
their mom. So,
Yeah.
I mean, these are humanity stories, and I think if everyone in Chicago became more aware of these stories, there would be more of a push to create awareness. That's what this case needs right now. It's dormant. It's faded. No one's talking about it except for just a mention on the anniversary on February the 2nd, and then that's it. Then we go to weather, sports, good night. This needs awareness. This actually needs the 3 A's that I always talk about: awareness, attention, and also anger to get right to the point. It needs emotion. We need a sense of urgency to push the Tinley Park PD to solve this thing already.
And there have been cases where a case goes dormant, and either like a true crime podcast or a documentary or a America's Most, storytelling does help revive people's emotions on that third A, on the anger side, and especially the awareness as well. It kind of stirs the pot. It reignites people's interests, and that can actually, in some cases, it has led places, right?
Yeah, I mean, Crime Junkies, which is a huge podcast for true crime buffs, is going to be hopefully coming out with the episode pretty soon. They started putting some stuff on TikTok. I'm just begging the Tinley Park PD, stop being so aloof and let social media be your friend. Because today social media can solve a case like this. TikTok has changed the world.
Yeah.
So we need as much awareness on this thing as possible because it's faded.
I want to get into the weeds about this because I'm just learning about this today. What happened that day? Why did they not have, do they have cameras? Did they have pictures of this person? Was it a robbery gone wrong, or was
this was not a robbery. If this was a robbery, then I'm not Asian. This took 40 minutes. 40 minutes. I mean, what is this, Dog Day Afternoon Part 2?
40 minutes. So he
40
was in
minutes,
the store
just
for
like
40
the Browns chicken murders in Palatine. That was 40 minutes also.
So he locked them in there, or what happened?
A killer walked in. He posed as a delivery person.
Okay.
There were 2 employees and 2 customers already inside. He took 4 of them at gunpoint to the back room and tied them up with duct tape. 2 more customers came in, did the same thing to them. And then at 10:44 a.m., which is about 40 minutes into this ordeal, Rhoda McFarland made the 911 call that's gone public. And apparently that set him off. Rhoda's right in the middle right there. And what happened was then the killer shot everyone.
Oh, no.
And then 2 minutes later, the police got there and the killer vanished.
2 minutes later.
2 minutes later, because there was a police officer in the Target parking lot, which is adjacent to the Lane Bryant. So there's a $100,000 reward out there. The killer walked in with no mask on. 40 minutes he's spending time inside. What was he doing for the entire 40 minutes? I would love to know. And he's just begging to get caught. So I'm pleading with the audience out there right now to hit the website, thetinley5.com. If you have any information on this thing, let us know. Again, thetinley5, the number 5.com for information.
Did someone survive this?
Yeah, because they let's bring actually now that Charlie has audio in his ear, I want to bring Karen Conti into the conversation here. Karen, we just saw the composite sketch. I've seen it dozens of times over the years. There's a voice recording. A witness to the shooting did survive. What is your take on why a viable suspect has never emerged in these 17 years?
It's really not explainable. You have somebody who saw this person, and this person, as you can see, that composite sketch is pretty detailed. The person had some braids with a certain distinctive bead. The person had a distinctive jacket and distinctive jeans. And so it's just inconceivable to me that nobody knew who he was, whether it was a hairdresser, a family member, or a fellow gang member. We don't know. The only explanation for that is that he got on that expressway after the crime and left town. Because somebody knows who that guy is. I agree with Charlie that there has been some complacency here. I think somebody needs to take a fresh look now that we have genetic genealogy. We can take whatever DNA was there and we can figure out who this guy's family members were. We can look at ballistics again, cell phone tower records, and we can really revamp this investigation. And the other thing I do want to say is that sometimes these crimes get solved because maybe someone wanted to be quiet about it because maybe they were associated with the gang or associated with this guy and was afraid of him. And maybe they're not anymore. Maybe they're in a different place in life and now they're ready and willing to talk about it. And $100,000 is a lot of money.
So you mentioned how there was a witness. Was this witness involved in being taken back in the back of that building? What did that person say was the reason, or what was this man saying to these women?
Well, we don't know any of that, and that's the thing. They kept the identity of the survivor secret for her own protection, and I understand that completely. But she's the key here. She saw this. She watched it go down, and to my knowledge, what she knows other than the composite sketch has never been shared with anyone. In fact, there are accounts in certain media accounts that say that one of the women was sexually abused. We don't know that for sure. We don't know what was said. We do have the 911 call where you can hear his voice. They're protecting her, but I think the time has come now for her to be re-interviewed with new eyes on following up on leads and maybe starting this whole thing from scratch.
Charlie, how long is the documentary and what sources are we going to hear from?
Well, we're actually filming a lot of it this week in Chicago and also in New York and Philadelphia. We interview a couple of family members. We interview people that worked at that Lane Bryant at the time of the shootings, also a retired police officer, and also other FBI crime profilers. Karen made a great point about the 911 call that's on the Tinley Park Village website right now. The Tinley Park PD, they have not released the entire 911 call. I wish I knew why. If they release the entire call, then maybe someone out there will say, okay, I know the voice. They are just way too aloof with this thing, Tinley Park PD. Make social media, make documentary filmmakers, make podcasters your friend, so we can start talking about this, because this thing needs awareness, awareness, awareness. We need ideas out there, thoughts out there, get people talking, and maybe that will just jar someone's memory and go, I got it, here it is.
Seems like there wouldn't be a downside to doing any of that.
What do you got to lose?
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's been 18 years.
Yeah, right.
18 freaking years.
Yeah.
So,
18
Well,
years.
you know what? Sometimes what happens, unfortunately, is the police get too many leads. They've investigated 7,500 leads, and every time this comes up, the police department has told me they get hundreds of leads, and that means they have to go out and investigate them, right? So it's sort of a blessing and a curse from their perspective.
Yeah, I mean, with cases like this, when years go by, are they literally just all the evidence sitting in a box in the back? How does this work at a police department? I'm sure they're obviously busy day to day, as you mentioned, Karen. So is there like a special portion of the police department that's constantly working on these unsolved cases, or has this case just not even been looked at in years?
Well, we don't know that. And I have spoken to the chief of police there, a very nice gentleman, but I just don't think fresh eyes have been on this. And I think sometimes when these investigations are done, you rely upon what your police officer did before. We looked into that guy and it wasn't viable. But we need somebody, a cold case investigator with some money and some energy and some time to start from scratch and go over all of the leads again and re-interview people and do this genealogy. And see if maybe CODIS now has somebody who might match. All of these need to be started, and it needs a lot of fresh energy.
Makes sense. Karen, Charlie just kind of drew the comparison between these murders and the Brown's Chicken, the Palatine ones. That crime took 9 years before there was an arrest. Can you refresh our memory on what finally led to the two perpetrators being caught in that case?
Yeah, there's actually a new book just written about this crime. And, you know, it was really, there was a girlfriend. One of the perpetrators made some comment to her, like, I did something really big and I did this. And she surmised what it was. And she was afraid of him because he threatened her. So finally, she came around and her conscience got the best of her. There was also some reward money. She told the police. And sure enough, there was a piece of chicken with one of the defendant's DNA on it that was left in the garbage can of the place, and that connected him to the crime and then his co-conspirator. So it really was a person who changed their viewpoint on coming forward and actually reporting what she knew.
Okay, maybe the same thing could happen in this case. We're almost out of time, but before we let you both go, Charlie, give us a status update on the status of this project, when and where people will be able to check it out.
AMC theaters and also on streaming. All my films reach Amazon Prime and other major streaming platforms. February is the expected release date. That will be the 18-year anniversary. So again, the website is thetinley5.com. I do want to make one last comment on the survivor.
Sure.
She was 33 at the time. They've named her Martha. I don't know if that's the real name. The police told us her name is Martha. She'd be 50 years old today. She was a nursing student from Kentucky. And I heard that she left Illinois right after this tragedy, and none of her coworkers had been able to locate her. Great suggestion by Karen. She needs to be re-interviewed.
Yeah.
Along
with. Could be
with
the key to this whole thing.
I mean, the police are only going by her because there were no cameras inside the Lane Bryant. Zero.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
You would think a big retail chain like that would have cameras. And they're not protecting their employees.
Yeah, and that location's long gone, right?
It's a TJ Maxx now.
Yeah, it's a TJ Maxx now.
Oh.
Charlie, fascinating stuff. Keep us posted. We look forward to seeing it. February 2nd is the anniversary date. You're hoping to have it launched by then?
Yeah, first week of February.
First week of February. All right, Charlie, thank you so much. Karen, as always, thank you. Appreciate it a lot. It is 10 minutes until 11 o'clock. And we do have a really important interview to get to before 11 o'clock. We're going to be checking in with a state lawmaker who has a couple of things to say about the Bears' effort to land in Arlington Heights and why they may be fighting an uphill battle with the state of Illinois. Kam Buckner when we come back.
10:51. I'm getting whiplash with this story. I don't know which way we're going to go with
Yeah,
the
I know.
Chicago Bears.
You and the rest of Chicagoland.
Oh, my goodness. So the Chicago Bears may be charging ahead with plans for a new stadium in Arlington Heights, but not everyone's cheering from the sidelines. Illinois State Representative Kam Buckner has been vocal about the team's push for major property tax breaks, calling it tone deaf, especially at a time when so many Illinois residents are still waiting on property tax relief themselves. After Friday's press conference with Bears chairman George McCaskey, Buckner says the team has been far from transparent, and if they want public support, they need to contribute more of their own money and be upfront with the public. This morning, he joins us to talk about his recent op-ed, which talks about what's really at stake with the stadium deal and whether the Bears are asking for too much. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Caitlin and Anthony.
All right, Cam, for those who didn't check out your op-ed, bottom line it for us here. What is this property tax issue really about in your mind?
Well, the bottom line is this. There are a few different angles here. One, for those of us who represent and live in the city of Chicago, we should be having very honest conversations with the Bears about what their departure from Soldier Field means for the people of Chicago. I remind you once again that there are hundreds of millions of dollars left on the 2002 Soldier Field renovation. I think it's $532 million left on that the people of Chicago are paying every year. That's number one. Number two, if they're going to leave to Arlington Heights, there should be a real conversation with the people of that locality of what the Bears being there means, right? They're going to add more stress to the infrastructure in good ways and in bad ways. And the point of property taxes is for them to be able to pay their fair share in that space. So they should be asking that question. And thirdly, when it comes to people who represent towns across the state, Rockford, Peoria, Aurora, places that have some real property tax issues, the question should be for the Bears, why should they get a property tax break when the people of Illinois have not got one themselves?
So if the Bears do move locations, what is your hope that what turns into what was the Bears Stadium along the lakefront there? What do you think would be the best option for the city?
You transform Soldier Field into something that is open public space with more access to the lakefront, finding a way to use it hopefully for more events and more concerts, but also, finding ways to reconfigure the ingress and egress, how to get in and out of there. Also, I'm very, very committed to making sure that we do a better job with our transit system, right? So does the CTA play a role in this? How do we connect the lakefront? There's a lot of really big, bold, creative ideas we can use. I think the mayor's office and the city council have to lead in that conversation as well, but there's a lot of options and a lot of opportunity.
Oh, all right.
Cam, you've said that this kind of tax break for the Bears could set a dangerous precedent. In your mind, what is the biggest danger here? Is it only about the taxpayers in Arlington Heights?
It's about the taxpayers in Chicago and the state of Illinois and every other county in the state of Illinois. Because what I'm trying to call people's attention to is that if the Bears get their property tax frozen, so they're not paying into the system at the rate in which they're using the system, this is not just schools, this is police, this is fire, this is libraries, this is infrastructure, someone will have to pay that. So the natural reaction is that maybe that has to come from the people of Arlington Heights in another way. As a state budgeteer, what I'm also concerned about is that if the tax levies don't equal up to what they're supposed to in Arlington Heights, will they be coming to the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, asking us for more budget relief? We're doing a lot of things, as I said, trying to fix transit, trying to fund education, trying to beat back some of the issues coming from the federal government, and we need to have the ability to do that and not necessarily worry about sports franchises. What I also will remind people is that the Bears are an $8.8 billion organization. That's a huge organization who should be paying their fair share. And when you look at these stadium projects around the country, people are starting to move away from the public subsidy mindset, because that doesn't serve people. I'll tell you what, if NFL stadiums were truly economic development engines, then the NFL would be paying for them themselves, because the return on investment will be there. Instead, what they're doing is asking public entities and people to pay for it because they know that these are not deals that make sense in the broader scheme of things.
So you mentioned that the Bears ownership should come to Springfield or go to Springfield to make their case in person, just like Jerry Reinsdorf did last year for the White Sox. So why do you think that's important for the team owners to meet directly with the lawmakers?
I think that's important because if this is such a good deal, it was such a smart play, and if there are good things that come to the people of Illinois and Arlington Heights, then the Bears ownership should feel comfortable standing up in public, having that conversation, having robust dialogue with people like me who have been elected to represent the people, and so folks can hear from them what their plans are. Caitlin, you started off this segment by saying that you had whiplash when it came to the Bears. I do too, because just last year they had a big press conference saying that they were never leaving Chicago, and now they're saying we're leaving for Arlington Heights, and now and it keeps flip-flopping. They need to clear the record, push the reset button, and talk directly to the people of Illinois through their representatives, and tell us what it is that they need and what they want.
Kam, we're getting the wrap, but I do want to ask you one more question before you leave. You got your finger on the pulse of Springfield, all your colleagues down there. In your mind, what needs to happen for the Bears to make this Arlington Heights option a reality?
Well, the first thing is for them to come down to Springfield and have a very honest conversation. They should fess up to what they've done wrong for the last 4 years. I think the first step that they did wrong was you don't buy $200 million worth of land without having a plan for it. They started there, right? But they should have that conversation. And then say, this is what we need, and this is how it will benefit the state. Even folks like me who have been extremely pessimistic about this, I've never said flat out no. I've said explain to me why this makes. As I said, teachers used to say, show your work.
Show your work. We caught the tail end of that. We're having a couple of audio issues, Kam, with the connection. Show your work, though. I think that message came in loud and clear. Rep. Kam Buckner, always good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for your time. All right, we're approaching 11 a.m. Caitlin and I are about to hand things over to Anita and Natalie, who are in for Gabby and Tia for our 11 a.m.
now about those murders.
Lane Bryant, it was a very big deal. I can't believe you were just in high school at the time.
2008, graduated from high school. I'm like, Anthony, give me all the details. I know nothing about this.
Okay, you're going to have to check out that doc when it comes out in February. All right, for Caitlin Cudi, thank you so much for joining us here on Chicago Now. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
everybody. Time for our 11 o'clock hour with the fill-ins.
No, it's a special edition, Anita.
Special edition,
Let's
okay.
Get the title
That
right.
makes it sound a lot better. Thank you all so much for being here. Anita Blant, Natalie Baumke. And have you done this 11 o'clock hour before?
I have not. This is my first time.
First time, sister. All right, so
Okay.
we're going to make this sing. We're going to do our thing for the ladies who are out today, but we've got a lot to get to in this hour.
Yeah, so Block Club Chicago is going to be coming in, and they always have like those undercover, like hidden kind of Chicago gems. And so one of them is, did you know, I didn't know that they're trying to renovate the Uptown Theater.
Correct, yeah, and it's not a small project at all. I mean, anytime you're taking on something that's been around for this long, obviously it takes a lot of dollars. So you might be thinking, oh, it's just like 1 or 2 million or maybe 10 million. No, it's a $190 million project. And that's not anybody can take that on. It has to be, a special person, specially funded person who can take on that type of project. So we'll talk a little bit about, the money that's going into it, what they're going to use it for, and things of that nature with our friend John Hansen from Block Club Chicago. We love having him in. He gives us all the good details.
He does.
Yeah.
And then there's a shoe shine shop on the west side, and this has been around for a really long time.
Now, Natalie, I'm in the market for a new shoe shine shop.
Oh, you have got to tell your story.
I was like, should I tell it?
I don't know, do you? Wait a minute.
Should I tell? Okay, I'll give you the abbreviated version.
Yeah.
I'll give you the abbreviated version as much as I can, okay? So a place that I've gone for quite some time, and nothing is wrong with the owner. Nothing that the owner did wrong.
There are no lawsuits pending.
Correct, because I'm a nice person. I won't give the name away. Won't give the name away. But I went to this particular place. I've been many times before, and I went on this day to pick up some shoes that I had him working on, and he always does a fantastic job. But I went in on this day. I sat there for like 30 minutes.
And you called him ahead of time,
Nobody.
right?
I knew.
So you knew he was going to be there.
Correct.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be there, but when I got there, nobody was behind the desk. Sat there for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, something's a little odd. I thought he had just stepped out maybe to go to the restroom or get, lunch or something, but it was just odd that nobody was behind the desk. I called. He picks up. I'm like, I'm sitting in your establishment. Like, I told you I was on the way. And he said that his son was working for him on that day. He said, well, he should be in there. His son was not there, so I asked, since we have an established relationship, do you mind if I just go back and get my shoes?
Because you saw them.
I saw them. They were right in front of me.
Right.
I'm like, I could reach out and touch them, except I couldn't actually touch them. But they were right there.
Yeah.
So when I went to go back there, I see his son laid out on the floor. I am still traumatized to this moment because I thought something was horribly wrong. And to this day, I don't know whether it was a bad joke or whether the young man was sleeping or had some type of episode. I don't know.
But did he wake up?
I freaked out, ran upstairs for help, got security to come back down. Security came. He still was on the floor, and I'm on the phone with his dad screaming into the phone, and his dad said, well, call his name, and told me his name. I called his name, and the young man was like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. I mean, we've got multiple people in there screaming like nothing happened. So yeah, I'm in the market for a new shoe shine shop. I am totally traumatized. Right. I still don't know. The security guard was like, did we get punked? Was this a prank? We don't know. And he never addressed it. Like, he just got up and started working like nothing ever happened.
That is crazy.
Very weird stuff that happens sometimes. Okay. But we're going to talk about a place today that I'm going to take notes on. That I'm going to take notes on because it's been around for quite some time. So we're celebrating a small business that's doing wonderful things and continuing to go on. They always have all of the inside scoop, so Block Club Chicago does wonderful things. We're going to talk about that. We also have to talk about this big FAN EXPO that's taking place. We've been getting some clips from it all morning long. Sounds like it's going to be fantastic with some very noticeable faces.
Yeah, John Cena. I'm like, what? Orlando Bloom.
I'm newly single.
Amen,
Orlando
sister.
Bloom.
And Ewan McGregor, all going to be coming to Chicago for this FAN EXPO.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be talking about the organizer, because this This is what a great way when people are behind computers. I mean, what a great way to connect with people who are fanatics like yourself.
Absolutely, and they come for the collectibles. They come for all of the, the get-ups, the costumes that you can put on, so that you can be a part of the shows. Obviously, you get to speak and to meet those folks who you've watched on TV. That's a wonderful thing as well. And I just love how the fandom just grows over time. So we're going to be able to check in on that as well. But first, on this special edition of Chicago Now in the 11 o'clock hour, we have a special correspondent.
We do, right. So the Illinois State Fair started last Thursday. It goes for 2 weeks. This is the last weekend, so you still have an opportunity, Anita, to get out there
And
if
it's
you
like
want
a family affair for so many people, but especially Miss Bomke.
Yeah, the Bomke family tradition. And so every year, my daughter Olive goes down to Springfield to stay with my parents for a week, and they take her to the fair every single day. And so if you're planning a trip for this last weekend of the fair, we thought who better to check in with than Olive. And she's going to give us the scoop. Olive! How you doing?
Oh, you can't be shy now on us.
So tell me, Olive, this is my friend Anita, who you've not met yet.
I just send you candy at home.
Can you say hi, Olive, first of all?
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, perfect. So tell me what your favorite food has been so far at the fair.
Cotton candy.
Ooh, are you getting lots of cotton candy? You can tell us. We know that Grandma might let you, even if Mom wouldn't.
What was that?
What are you doing with Grandma and Grandpa?
I go to the fair every single day, and my favorite ride is the swing ride.
The swing ride.
Swing
Wow.
ride, and it spins around.
Yeah, and so you can see, Anita, that there's like a special kid area of the fair right by the main gate there, where she's doing all these things.
Oh,
and then they've
is
got,
that Miss Olive right there?
There she is. Olive, tell us what you're doing there.
I'm jumping.
Olive, you are a little athlete. That was good stuff. And then, are these horses here?
Yeah. Oh, that's my friends.
Your friends? Mom, do you know about these friends?
I do.
Okay.
What else are we seeing here, Olive?
My ride.
Yeah, you and the rides. And then tell us more about the food. What are you eating there?
Hamburgers and Cheetos.
And
Olive, did I see the butter cow? Do you know about the butter cow?
Yeah,
What do you know about the butter cow?
because it's made out of butter.
Oh, it sure is. All that butter.
now, Olive, if you could make something out of a food, what kind of food would you use?
Cake.
Cake. Okay, so
Olive.
well, I was going to say, and then tell us also, Olive, about the shows that you were able to see, the different types of shows.
The circus, the circus was really fun. It had like a clown that was had water guns, and it was like really crazy. It was squirting water at us, and,
Oh, my
and the
goodness.
clown gave out water guns, but he didn't give one to me.
Well, he knows better.
So, Olive, this
Squirting
is
the audience.
the audience. This is
And
right
their
before
baby
school.
pigs.
Are you excited about the start of the school year?
Yeah.
What makes you excited about going to school?
Because we go outside.
Oh, that's a good thing. Tell us about the dog show that you saw at the fair.
The dogs jumped into the water.
What?
Oh.
How many dogs?
They were chasing frisbees.
Oh, they were chasing frisbees.
So free shows. You've got the circus, Anita, and the dog show, and then there's a high dive show too, right, Olive, at the fair? And tell us how high they go.
They go really high. They almost go up to the flag.
Oh, whoa. You're so smart, Olive. Are you having just the best time with your grandparents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Anita's a big fan of animals. Olive, can you tell us about the animals that you've seen out there at the fair that people might be able to check out?
There's sheeps and goats
Really?
and chickens
Ooh, cool.
and cows.
I got to hang out with some goats the last time I was home
horses.
too.
Horses.
Oh, and horses. Yeah.
And Olive, also, we should remind people too about the height requirement. So each of the rides have a different height requirement, but this is the first year, Anita, that Olive was tall enough to ride all of the rides.
Oh boy, you're growing up. Olive, how old are you now?
5.
5 years old and already tall enough.
Yeah, she's very tall. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about the fair?
Yes.
Okay. What else do you want to tell?
Favorite rides.
Okay, tell us about your favorite rides.
My favorite ride is the glider and the gravitron and the Ring of Fire.
Ooh.
You were not able to ride the Ring of Fire. That's that one that goes upside down. You have not ridden that a single time. Did Grandma allow you to ride that?
You don't know if I rode it or not. She might be letting out a secret.
All right. Well, before we let you go, is there anything else that you want to tell people?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I made something today that's really important.
Oh. Oh wow, what is that?
It's my numbers. My numbers and my colors.
All of you are just so smart. Who knows what you're going to do in the school year ahead? Whoa, look at that.
Wow.
We have both sides there. That took a lot. Did it take a lot of time?
Yeah.
Well, we are so glad that you were able to join us, Olive. Thank you so, so much. Yay, Olive!
Yay, Olive! We love it.
I'm going today with Emma at the fair.
Oh, your friend Emma's going to
And
join you?
Charlie.
Okay. That'll be so
And
super.
Uncle Wolf and Tess.
Oh, good.
You're
Uncle
meeting
Wolfie.
everybody at the fair, Olive. So we might just have to check in with you again very soon. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a great day.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
I had the Ring of Fire. Bye-bye.
Was that a little cat?
That's her kitty.
Yeah,
That
that's
is her
kitty.
little stuffed animal that she takes
my
everywhere.
goodness.
Anita.
Listen, you are training her up. She's going to take our job.
Yeah, and, well, if
We
she's smart,
welcome
she'll
it.
get into another business.
As we
Working
say
on
that,
that.
well, we're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everybody. So a couple of things that we have to talk about before we get to our friend John Hanson from Block Club Chicago. One, we didn't talk about the musicians for the fair.
Yes.
There are some big names.
There are. Okay, so Snoop Dogg we missed on Wednesday.
For
that
Shizzle.
was last night.
Yes.
Yeah, that's who Anita and I wanted to go see. But tonight, Brad Paisley's there. And then Friday night, the Chainsmokers.
Huge stuff. I feel like the fair has been getting some really good acts these last few years. I'm like,
the Jonas Brothers were there last year. And then Def Leppard on Saturday.
Man, it's good stuff. So the fair kind of covers everything. There's a little something for everybody. So make sure you head out there. We also have to touch on the issues with the CPS. So of course, one of the big talkers for today is the Chicago Public Schools going back and forth trying to get their budget done. So that's going to be another big talker for the day. They have an interim CEO right now who, obviously anytime you have negotiations going on, not everybody's going to get their way. And you hope that there's a little give and take on both sides and no strike.
Right. And the interesting thing is, so the board is trying to fill this over what is it,
over $730 million.
$730 million deficit. But they decided to go with the plan of fired CPS CEO Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk to Chalkbeat about that and kind of what they see is, and they have to vote on this right by the end of August. So you have a couple weeks.
Time is running out, and obviously all of this is happening right as the school year is getting ready to start for CPS. They start on Monday, so it's kind of like we were talking about them. That's what's going on with CPS, but like Naperville, kind of going through something similar where the teachers have already authorized a strike. So what kind of angst that gives a family when you're sending your kid back to school, and then all of a sudden the teachers are like, whoop, we'll let you know if they're going to be coming to class, because there are some questions, some things that still need to be hammered out. So there's still a lot to talk about with that as well. But we're going to talk now with our friend John Hanson from Block Club Chicago. Got to get to these stories that we kind of teed up at the beginning of the hour here. Hello. I was like,
hey, John.
Is it good morning? Is it good out? Oh, we're still morning time.
Who knows? Who really knows anymore? By the way,
what?
The Gravitron was the best ride ever. I'm surprised it's still in operation.
Me
right? Does Olive know about that?
Yes.
Are you hiding it from her?
No, she has ridden the Gravitron.
Oh.
She rode it in Michigan. We went to a county fair in Michigan with my husband. I was surprised too, though. Remember, you get stuck to the wall and you can't move, and it's frightening.
With no seat belts.
I know.
Wait a minute. You allowed her to go onto the Gravitron, but not the Ring of Fire?
The Ring of Fire goes... John, you have a child.
Wait a minute.
Okay, the Ring of Fire goes upside down. Would you allow your 5-year-old, once they're 5, to go on that ride?
His 5-week-old.
5 years old seems a little young. I'd say 8 before you go upside down.
Okay.
But
When
that's how
you
I
go
feel.
on the Gravitron?
She was 4 when
you'd stay inside like a little cave, like you're in like a spaceship, and you have these matted walls behind you, and they spin it so fast you just get like
stuck. And then the matted walls go up and down. They slide up. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's right. That's when it really got going.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. At 4 years old.
Anita, I don't know. She's a risk taker.
Well,
all right.
we know where she gets it from. Okay, we've got to talk about the Uptown Theater. We love the idea, John, that so many different musical theaters and other types of theaters are getting some interest in bringing them back to life, but they come with a high dollar sign.
Oh, I mean, this one is going to be huge. But let's just get a little background here. So the Uptown Theater is ginormous. It has a bigger capacity than the Chicago Theater downtown. I mean, this was the crown jewel theater when it was built 100 years ago. It opened 100 years ago tomorrow, so 1925. And, I mean, huge acts that performed here. And it has over 4,000 seats. I mean, there's this giant capacity. It's like where do the dancers in New York, the famous theater out there, they dance at?
Carnegie Hall?
The Rock. Yeah, it's like that for us, for Chicago.
Okay.
That's what this was in its heyday. And so it's going to be 100 years old tomorrow. It hasn't had a show for 44 years.
Wow.
So almost half of its history, it has sat vacant since 1981. That's a long time. Now, there's been a couple different owners that have at least kept the heat on, right? Some of the minimal things just to make sure that it doesn't fall into complete disrepair. But the current owner basically bought it at a foreclosure sale in 2008. He said he was the only guy to show up, and he's poured $12 million just to like keep the lights and the heat on. It cost $70,000 a winter to heat this thing.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a ton of money. They think it's going to cost $190 million to really bring this back to shape. That would be the largest renovation of a theater in American history.
Wow. So who is going to fund this? Does he have any idea? Still no idea.
No, there's a lot of ideas floating around, right? Like in 2018, there seemed to be a deal in the works to maybe get the city, the feds, the state to kind of chip in some of this money to try and, revitalize this theater, which is huge for the Uptown neighborhood, which has seen a big turnaround in the last couple of years or so. And more is promised. They've redone the Red Line, a lot of other things in the area. But that fell through when the pandemic broke out, right? No one going to theaters. They weren't going to see this ROI they wanted to see. And I think that's the big problem. Like developers, there's a lot of developers that would love to try something, but even after you spend, let's say it ends up being $250 million, you know how costs always go up. You spend $250 million, we're seeing theaters, modern theaters closing. Like the movie-going entertainment space has changed so much that a developer, I don't know if they're going to want to put in this much money to maybe not get a profit eventually, right? You're not going to have developers do that. So they're trying to make Hail Mary pitches to the feds, to the state, and the owner is optimistic that something can get done, but I mean, it's going to take kind of a Herculean effort, I think, of governments, developers, and so to save this crown jewel of the neighborhood.
Yeah, and then what are they trying to use it for when it's all said and done? And maybe does that become a sliding scale as well?
Yeah, no, you're right. I was just talking to Mac Lederman, who wrote this story. We're going to have a big story about this on our podcast coming up. And I said the same thing to Mac. I was like, I don't know if you can get 4,000 butts in the seats in multiple locations in Chicago anyways. So, I don't know. Weddings, right? Graduation ceremonies. They've flirted with some of these ideas and maybe tried a couple of these things here or there. I mean, the front of this building, like when you walk in where you would maybe buy your tickets back in the day, buy the concessions, is gorgeous. It's got this incredible marble staircase going up. I can just picture the wedding pictures there right now, right? They have done like a little things like Transformers 4, filmed the scene in there. So the theater still looks pretty darn good considering it hasn't been a show there since '81. But I agree. I think that the solution may end up being not, let's open this up as a movie theater again, but let's find something. Some of the other crazy ideas, a developer a couple years ago wanted to make like a go-kart track.
What?
Inside of this thing. But like, how much money are you gonna make off go-karts, right? Like, you ain't gonna be able to revitalize this theater for go-karts. So there's a lot of ideas being thrown around, and that's why the headline basically is, will Uptown Theater ever reopen? The answer is we don't know. I mean, I think it's sad. It's these no trespassing signs are on this incredible old facade. People try and sneak in every now and then. They got a couple groundskeepers to make sure that doesn't happen, that are always looking around and doing stuff.
What does the inside look like? Because like I'm picturing like the Astrodome, right, in Houston. I mean, it was like it's a mess. You know, I mean, the ceiling is falling down, the seats are coming apart, and I would assume it cost so much to renovate because you have asbestos, lead paint.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above, probably in some parts of the building, right? But I gotta say, as I was scrolling through the pictures, and we've got the pictures up at blogclubchicago.org, don't know if we can scroll through some of them now, but it looks really quite good. I mean, some of the curtains, right, are not great. The seats are going to all have to be replaced at some point. Some of the softer stuff, but they said that when they built this building, they had incredible foresight, and maybe because it came less than a quarter century after the famed Iroquois Theater fire, right, in 1903 in Chicago, they built this theater with a ton of steel. Like, they were smart about more than was required. Like, they were like, we want this to last and be a beacon forever. So the guts of this place are actually pretty strong, and some of the masonry, all the fine details, I'm looking at Colin Boyle's photos. I mean, they still look pretty darn good. I mean, of course it needs the guts, as you mentioned, the lead paint, the asbestos, the up to code, the plumbing, I'm sure, is not in perfect shape, and all the other things that you would expect from a modern amenity experience, you know, would have to be upgraded. And there's a lot of will, right? I mean, the community wants this, and they've been begging for something like this in a neighborhood that has, as I mentioned, gone under change. So I don't know. I left the conversation with Mac, who I just chatted with, the reporter, just like,
Ooh.
I mean, I'm glad people care, but a little, yeah, look at that, right?
Beautiful.
Can't you picture like the brides and the
Yes.
bridesmaids on one
Absolutely.
side? Yeah, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Let me ask you, is there like a historic preservation aspect of this? Because I know that can be a benefit and also something that really holds a lot of developers back too.
Yeah, you're hitting on something right there, Anita. The idea that you go through preservation and efforts like that, there's certain things that have to be up to code. You can't like preserve something that is falling apart essentially, or that there's not a more effort to keep it alive. Honestly, I'd have to like dig in a little deeper. I know there have been a lot of preservation efforts made in the past, and you know they sometimes succeed. A lot of buildings have been saved. There's the front of it too.
Yeah.
But as we just saw, the Damon silos were just knocked down off the Stevenson Expressway.
Right.
Even preservation efforts sometimes fail in the city if there isn't like a viable path forward for this working. I don't think the city or the state likes slapping preservation things on buildings, perhaps rightfully so, that if they're never going to become what they were, then you've got this. I mean, it's 40,000 square feet. This could be land that, I mean, I would hate to see a theater like this destroyed for condos, but like that's what the city would kind of argue. Now that's, I think maybe the solution, this is just me speaking. You see that gorgeous room we're looking at? That giant theater, I would love to save it, but couldn't we preserve at least part of this thing and build it into something that's bigger? Maybe we don't have the money to upkeep everything, and that's sad to see part of this go, but like
A nightclub,
like, this
a restaurant, a bar. we don't have enough of those in Chicago. John, let's move on to our next topic here and our last topic. So for over 60 years, the West Side's Shine King has made shoes gleam, and boy, do they have a name for themselves on the West Side in Austin.
Yeah, they do. This is a huge part of the community. Over 60 years, Shine King has been run. It's right on Central Avenue, and it's now in its second owner. The original owner passed away in 2022. The son took it over and doing his best to keep it going. I mean, talk about changing industries. Shoe shining has really changed over the years, and really the pandemic really hurt a lot of these businesses. There was one in Lakeview that closed that had been open for 80 years, one downtown that had been open for 90 years, closed downtown. But this one keeps on going. They've also pivoted to shoe repair as well to try and keep everything up. But I think one of the things that keeps this place going is they are not, a lot of the kids bring their Jordans in, right, to be cleaned and to be meticulously clean. People bring their Ugg boots in. So this isn't a place that's just trying to hold on to the leather dress shoe wearing community. It's offering opportunities for people to gather. And I think that's also, it's like a barbershop for this neighborhood in many ways. The Shoe Shine place is kind of an extension of that. And they're trying to find different ways to make this old business new. The son trying to keep it. What's interesting is the son swore he would never take it over, right? Like he grew up in this place with his dad, and then he just said, like a shoe, you fall in love with something like this. Obama used to go there, former President Obama, and a lot of other big names. So it's a great story, I suggest, and you can see the photos there of Collins. It's a really cool story of just like keeping a business going in a modern era and seeing where they can go from here.
And that's the biggie. I think like we love to see things passed down, of course, from one member of the family to the next. And there are so many stories where someone has had a business for so long and that next generation is like, actually, no. And I think that's such a tough decision, especially with an industry like that where you just don't see that many of them out there.
Yeah, and Vernon Cole, I didn't say his name earlier. He's the owner now, and he's got the regulars, right? I think that's what keeps it going. And he gets people that come in that don't even get their shoes shined all the time. They just, in between shine shoes, they come in and chat. They sit in the chairs. And like that's really what this place, I think the heart of this place is. It's the conversations that have happened there, right? To be a fly on the wall for some of the great debates in Chicago's West Side. I would love to have been there for some of that. But I mean, it's a great story. It's a great read. I'm optimistic about this place. I think a lot of people are. Oh, one other thing. They opened a police and fire training facility in the Humboldt Park neighborhood, and they see a lot of police officers and firefighters because they have to wear the nice shoes to the training facility and stuff. And so I think like, oh, what a smart way to get a new group of people that do have to wear the dress shoes nearby in the neighborhood. So
what's the address in case people are watching and they...
Let me scroll around.
I'm like, I want people to be able to find them.
The Shine King.
No, you're great. No, it's in here somewhere. Oh, come on. I'm scrolling like everybody else. It's like Madison.
Looks like
338 North Central.
Okay.
338 North Central. So that's like Central Avenue, Madison, Monroe, Jackson, basically.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, John. We love seeing you. And ILL.
I, baby.
Have a great rest of your day. Tell your little one we said hello.
I think we woke him up. He's in the next
Oh,
room.
no. That's the worst.
That's what aunties do.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you, John.
We'll be right back.
Anita, if you had the opportunity to meet like a celebrity, who would it be?
Oh.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, that's a toughie. Let's see. Beyonce.
Okay, obviously.
I mean,
all right. Well, I don't know that
who would yours be?
Oh, well, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
Cole Kmet from the Bears. He's my own celebrity.
You all. So I went to the game on Sunday, and I'm looking out at all the players. I'm trying to find Cole Kmet. Where is Cole? There he is. Let me take this picture because I know who to send it to.
And she did. He was wearing a gray t-shirt and he looked hot.
Right in the middle of it. I'm like, I'm finding him for my girl. I'm finding him for my girl.
He wasn't playing on Sunday.
He was not playing on Sunday, but we'll see if they get in the game this week.
Anyway.
The Fan Expo is coming up.
That's right. That's why I was asking Anita that question. And there are going to be some celebrities going to be appearing here in Chicago there that you can see. It's in its 53rd year. At the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, and I mean, it draws out people of all flavors.
Oh, and from like all over the place that come here to fan out. You know, that's what it's all about. We love to see it, and sometimes, you know, you're just kind of walking around, and you can see, you're like, you're going over to the expo, aren't you? Yeah, they love to dress the part and really be a part of this. So we have Andrew Moyes, who is the Vice President of Fan Expo, joining us now. Thanks so much for taking some time in a busy week.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be with you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the fandom and really how this has grown over time. Maybe let's start with that because where you started and where you are now with this thing is totally different.
Well, it's incredible to think that this is one of the most historic Comic-Cons in the world. 53 years, as you say, this has been going here at the Rosemont Center, and we're super excited to have a wonderful installment this year. It's all about celebrating everything pop culture. So whether you love sci-fi, gaming, horror, or where this all started, comics, this is the place to be, the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, to celebrate with your fandom community and just have a wonderful weekend together.
Andrew, paint the picture for us. Once you walk in, what are people going to see? What's going to be available to them?
There's so much to see and do. We have a show floor that is full of vendors. So lots of pop culture collectibles that you can see and purchase. And we also have hundreds of artists that are doing unique, one-of-a-kind commissions or artistic pieces that you can pick up that you won't find anywhere else. So real bragging rights. And then, of course, a big piece is our celebrity guest lineup. We've had some incredible talent through this show over the years, and we always think to ourselves, how are we going to top it year over year? Well, this year we have Ewan McGregor, we have Hayden Christensen, we have John Cena. I mean, that is just scraping the surface. We have incredible talent from all different genres that are going to be here to meet their fans this weekend.
Yeah, and you have over 300,000 square feet of space for all of this. So give some best tips and how to make the most of your experience.
Well, look, I strongly recommend you go to the website, fanexpochicago.com. The schedule is there, the photo op schedule is there, all the talent and celebrities that are coming is there. So you can really start to plan out a few key things that you want to do at the show. You may want to see the cosplay costume contest. You may want to attend a how to draw Batman workshop. Or you may want to go and see John Cena speak about the behind the scenes and his career on stage. So chart out those key things that you really are must see for you over the weekend. And then I always say you have to leave a bit of time for those surprise and delight moments, because they're bound to pop up as you're celebrating the weekend.
You know, so much has had to have changed over 56 years. And you know, you talk about the beginning, maybe Batman, some spy stuff, maybe Star Wars. What are the new things now that people are gravitating toward?
Yeah, I mean, people do love those classics, but anime is extraordinary now. Everyone is dressing up in their favorite anime character. K-pop Demon Hunters is one of the biggest.
My daughter
I just saw that
show.
I'm like, okay.
And the music. Okay, continue. Sorry, we had to chime in there.
No, it's so true, because that's one of those titles that people that I don't expect are into this pop culture universe are coming to me saying, do you have someone from K-pop Demon Hunters? So it's totally huge, the anime piece, and we're super excited to have lots of anime voice actors and lots of anime programming for people to enjoy over the weekend.
Okay, let me ask you about this, because you mentioned a few things I want to hone in on. And one, you talked about John Cena talking about behind the scenes for what he does. But what's behind the scenes for what you do? Like this has to be maybe organized or unorganized chaos before putting an event like this on.
Yeah, I always tell people that it's like a massive jigsaw puzzle. So sometimes you do a 50-piece, sometimes you do a 100-piece. These shows have to be a 5,000-piece puzzle that you're putting together. And you know what it's like when you are almost at the end and you can't quite put your hand on that last puzzle piece. That's kind of where we are right now. We're just putting those final pieces in place. But for us, it's really a huge responsibility to create an inclusive, celebratory environment where people can just come and escape and lean into the characters that they know and love. And so we take that very seriously. And so that's what we're focusing on as we enter the final stretch now.
You know, I'm going to go off script just a little bit, because I know there are some people at home that are like, I don't care about this, but they might be planning a wedding, or they might be planning like a 40 or 50th birthday event. So as an event planner, because I assume that's part of your role, as a nod to Anita's question, what are some mistakes that you think people can avoid? Like what are some tips you have for people planning a big event?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a list person. You've got to write everything down, write out that list. And there's nothing more satisfying than crossing everything off the list as you move through it. We have some amazing new technology that's available to us now as well, like project management software and, different communication. We use a lot of different chat platforms to keep in touch with each other. These events are so big that sometimes the cell service is totally jammed. So we're finding different ways to communicate with each other. But definitely, I think just back to that old traditional, write that list and check things off. It's the best way to ensure that nothing falls through the cracks.
Okay, now, I don't want to say speaking of crack, but anyway.
And where are you going with that?
I need to know what is the craziest thing? You mentioned a contest for the costumes.
Oh.
What's the craziest thing you have seen? And I know you have witnessed some just outlandish, where did you get this from? How did you put this together type of stuff?
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's the big sort of transformer costumes that don't even fit in an elevator. It's extraordinary now what people will do for these cosplay contests. People invest a lot of money and a lot of time. And we have lots of different levels. So someone might just be getting into cosplay, so they're sort of doing their entry beginner level. And then what I was just talking about, like these costumes that they have to call in advance and say, okay, this is what I'm bringing. How are we going to get this through the door? How are we going to get this into the convention center? Some of them have mechanical pieces that light up and are animated. So this really has gone to the next level. We have the 501st that are with us that have movie quality costumes from the Star Wars movies. So it really is a feast for the eyes down here at FAN EXPO Chicago over the weekend.
What's a budget like for these types of outfits?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it goes into the thousands. People who are very passionate about their fandoms are also very passionate about authenticity.
Yeah.
So for some people, they will just spend what they need to spend to ensure they are really paying homage to the titles that they know and love.
I kind of laugh, but it's like we spend. I mean, some people spend really crazy money on things like a wedding dress, a quinceanera.
No judgment zone.
Right, exactly.
No judgment. We listen and we don't judge, but well, not out loud at least. And what's the prize?
So you can win up to $1,000 if you are the first prize winner. And so this is the Windy City qualifier. We do Comic-Cons and Fan Expos across North America. So the winner, as part of the prize, also gets 2 tickets to MegaCon, which is our show in Orlando.
Oh, this is
and they get to fly down and compete with all the winners from our events across North America.
Yeah, we're familiar with like the Miss America circuit, so you're speaking our language.
They gotta move on up.
What is the craziest stunt you've seen pulled there? And then this will be the last question we ask. What's the craziest stunt? Did you freeze? You may have frozen. Nope, you're back.
I just froze a bit, but I'm back, I think.
Okay, we'll end on this. The craziest stunt that you've seen kind of pulled off there for the fans.
Well, people, I mean, it's the surprise and delight. I love the panels when you're in there, and then there might be some actor that is from the same title that just decides, you know what, I'm going to go in and see my friend at their panel and crash the panel. It's so electric because it's so unexpected, and it can be a really incredible moment for the fans to see, more celebrities on stage than they were expecting.
Yeah, a little bonus for your ticket to get in. Okay, Andrew, just on a final note, okay, give us the hard when, where, and what for people who are planning on coming out.
So FAN Expo Chicago happening at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center right through this weekend, Friday to Sunday. You can get your tickets at fanexpochicago.com, or of course you can purchase them here at the convention center. Everybody's welcome. It's a celebration of all things pop culture. So come and spend your weekend with us.
You
You're
sold it to us.
awesome.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Thanks for chatting with us, and good luck with this year's convention.
Thank you very much. Great to chat.
And we'll be right back.
everybody. 11:47 right now, and we have our friend Rima Amin from Chalkbeat who is joining us to talk about a big talker for today and possibly the next week. We're talking about CPS trying to work out this budget, over $734 million that they've got to work through here from a shortfall. Rima?
Yeah, lots going on with the district's budget, and actually the board, the new fiscal year has already begun, and so the board has to pass a budget in the next 2 weeks, otherwise it will be violating state law. So there's a lot of things going on. The district presented an official budget proposal yesterday to the Chicago Board of Education. They have proposed to close this deficit through some cuts, but also through some additional savings, some additional one-time revenue that they found. But perhaps the most controversial part of this budget is that the district is essentially not including a $175 million pension reimbursement to the city of Chicago, which the mayor, has said that he is expecting CPS to pay. But CPS, which is not legally obligated to pay that amount, has opted for now to not provide that payment, which has become a political heated point of this entire budget process.
Yeah, and I'm doubtful that they want to pass it on to the state, and I'm doubtful that the state legislators are going to say, sure, we'll bail you out, Chicago School District. What are you hearing about that?
Right, so the district has essentially said, we will pay this pension payment or reimbursement to the city if we get more state revenue, as you said, but also if the city will provide more dollars related to TIF districts, which are districts meant to, that capture taxpayer dollars, and they're meant to spur economic development. The city provides, a surplus of these funds to city agencies every year, including CPS. And so CPS has said if you'll declare more TIF surplus money, then we would be okay with paying this payment. But of course, that from the city's perspective, that is not good enough for them. And yes, the state has, there are state lawmakers who have expressed desire to boost education funding even more than they have committed to. But it does not appear right now that the state is planning to have, an emergency session or anything to directly address this. So it doesn't seem at this point that additional state money is coming, but, City Hall, CPS to some extent, unions are continuing their push to get the state to pony up more money.
Yeah, and let's talk through, you mentioned a lot of different aspects of this. It gets very muddy in terms of the politics of it all. Obviously, the kids are at the heart of it. We don't want anyone to forget about that, that the most important aspect of education, of course, is teaching our next generation. But from a political standpoint, you have a hybrid board now. You have an interim CEO as they search for a new possible superintendent. There's so many things that are kind of like in flex right now. How does that influence this major decision that needs to be made before it's all set in stone?
Yeah, and just to add to that, you're talking about a district that has seen so much leadership turnover in less than a year, less than 12 months. You've seen an entire board resign, and then a new board come in, and then another new board come in, and you have this interim CEO now. Many observers had assumed that the interim CEO, Macklin King, would align very closely with the mayor's office. She worked at the mayor's office, first under former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, but then a couple years under the current mayor, Brandon Johnson. And when she was voted in, all of the appointed members who were appointed to the school board by the mayor voted to hire her, and largely most of the elected members voted against hiring her. And so the thought was, she probably will include this pension payment. There probably won't be a fight with City Hall. This budget might include a borrowing plan that City Hall favors and that previous district leadership didn't like. And I think it stunned a lot of observers that that's not what's happening, that she did present a budget that doesn't include this pension reimbursement, that city leaders are not happy about. And so it introduces an entirely new dynamic that I'm not sure people were expecting. And so I think in terms of leadership and how this budget situation gets worked out, I think it'll be really important to see who aligns with her, who backs her proposal, and if there will be, the mayor has a majority on this school board, so will there be enough pressure to potentially get her to change the budget proposal so that they can pass something by the time that they legally need to?
Yeah, and as Anita said, the students are at the center of this. Test scores are not up to snuff in reading and math. Yet there's this increased spending, so much so, and I know you guys did an article about this, enrollment has dropped over the past 10 years by 177,000 students, and spending has just gone through the roof.
Yeah, I think in terms of test scores, you have to keep in mind that just like districts across the country, CPS students have gone through a lot in the past 5-6 years with the pandemic, remote learning, and actually, the district has touted that it's been making academic gains that some outside studies have found have really surpassed other big districts. A lot of that they have tied to the additional federal COVID relief money that they used. Almost $3 billion they pumped into additional staffing, tutoring, programs at schools. These are costs that they invested in, but also relied on one-time dollars that have now expired, but they want to hold on to a lot of these investments. They've also agreed to a lot of labor contracts that call to keep these staffing investments and other things in place. And so they're, I think anyone probably like you, like parents, families would say that, yes, there's a ways to go with academic gains. The district's argument is, yes, and we can't cut because that'll make us fall behind. That won't allow us to make gains on top of what we've already done. And that's kind of been their argument. And that's why they don't want to do things like, do this pension reimbursement, because they're worried that that'll mean cuts to classrooms.
Yeah, so many important arguments, honestly, in many different facets when this overall decision has to be made. And again, school starts on the 18th. So just give us a lineup of like where we are and where we need to be by the end of the month.
Yeah, in terms of, so as you said, school starts next week. There won't be a budget in place by then. In terms of, the district has said they are working around the clock to get classrooms ready. A couple weeks ago, the district announced that it was cutting close to 500 custodial positions as it brings custodian work in-house instead of, contracting with private vendors. And so I think there's questions about, how prepared classrooms and schools will be. The district, again, has said that they're working around the clock to make sure school buildings are ready. In terms of the budget, the board needs to pass a plan by August 28th, essentially by the end of August. And so we're just going to have to see. They're also having additional community meetings, I believe, next week. And so the public can attend those and provide feedback. And I think after that, we'll have to see how the plan potentially changes or how board opinion changes on this plan.
Oh, you've broken this down so nicely for us, and we know it's a complicated issue. Rima Amin, thank you so much from Chalkbeat.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, it's 11:56, everybody, and we're gonna go to a 2-minute break. I'm like, can I see that? 2-minute break. We're back after this.
Welcome back, and we're nearing the end of this special edition of the 11 a.m. hour of Chicago Now.
The fill-ins!
That's right. So we've got the Air and Water Show this weekend.
Oh my goodness, there's so much happening, but it really is. It's the end. We're drawing to the end of summer, but that's a wonderful part of drawing to the end. It's a huge exhibition, biggest in the world, you know, that we get to see right here.
We were hearing the planes rehearse.
Yes,
the
I've seen them.
I think, but while we were sitting in here with you guys, we heard them outside rehearsing already.
I love walking around town, and you can just see everybody start to do this, you know, or people just pulling up a seat wherever they can, you know, just so you can. There's a show anyway. Well, there's always a show in Chicago anywhere, but especially this weekend, you can look up to the skies and just, they say this is the sound of freedom, you know, this weekend. So great things to come over the weekend. And before you even get to the weekend, Chicago Now will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Well, we'll be back on the air tomorrow very early, but Chicago Now right here. Thanks for being here with us, everybody. We hope we did the ladies justice today.
I hope so.
Yeah, hope they have some fans by tomorrow.
Have a great day. Bye.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, local leaders are calling on CPS to keep an elementary school open. We'll let you know what they're demanding.
And it is becoming the preordained tour, how you can catch a bus to see the highlights of Pope Leo's life here in Chicago.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Brian Jackson, as we give you a live look outside right now. Got off to a kind of comfortable start out there. Had some sunshine as well, Caitlin, but not quite as warm as what we've seen lately.
It's beautiful. Oh, yeah, and what's coming around the corner. Today is going to be a stunning day. I think out of the whole 7-day forecast, today was my favorite. And the reason why is because it's comfortable. We have sunshine, as you just saw. And also because we know what's coming, which includes the 90s. Feeling like we could be, if not at 100, very close to that over the next couple of days. Temperatures outside right now are ranging from 78 degrees at the lakefront. So today's one of those days where it is going to be just slightly cooler near the lake. 82 at O'Hare right now, 83 at Midway, 82 in Joliet, 79 in Morris, 84 in Valpo, 80 in DeKalb. Temperatures, though, they are going to feel good through the rest of the day. And in fact, near the lake, I do expect highs to be right around 80. We have that east-northeast breeze at, I would say, 5 to 10, perhaps 15 at times, miles per hour. But 82 degrees with sunshine, it is lovely. 3 p.m., 85, 84 by 5. So again, further inland, we could see that 85 or 86 degree mark, just a little bit cooler near the lake. But take a look at the next 5 days, because this is what I'm talking about. You have to enjoy today because we've got the 90s returning as soon as tomorrow through the weekend and even early next week. The 90s when we should be at 83. We'll take a look at that full 7-day forecast, including that potential, to say perhaps the chance, potential for rain that is in the forecast as well, especially at the end of the weekend into early next week.
Well, thank you, Caitlin. Governor Pritzker is adding protections for Illinois workers.
Yeah, today the governor signed 3 bills that he says will shield them from federal rollbacks under the Trump administration.
With my signature, we are restoring hard-fought worker protections that Trump and Congress are trying to destroy, protections that were established under the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Act, the Fair Labor Standards Act, and the Coal Mine Safety Act. This new state law means Trump can't take these rights away from Illinois workers.
Labor leaders say the laws continue the fight to protect safe and fair workplaces. Community members are calling on Chicago Public Schools to step in and keep Esmeralda Santiago Elementary School open. Today, Alderman Villegas and school board member Carlos Rivas joined parents and teachers for the first day of classes, urging CPS to buy the property and keep that school open. The Archdiocese of Chicago recently listed this property for sale, raising concerns about the school's future.
Santiago is a pillar of this community, has served this community for many years, and serves primarily black and brown students. We cannot let our families go through another year of uncertainty.
When you think of the ideal school in Chicago, Santiago is the example. It would be a shame to see its doors close after continuous success since being founded. Mayor Johnson, school board, representatives, and CPS, please do right by our community, do right by our children, acquire this property, and keep the Santiago School open.
The elementary school is one of 5 Acero schools that CPS said would join the district. Supporters say the closing would disrupt students' learning and the neighborhood. The Lombard police are warning residents about street takeovers by teens on e-bikes, scooters, and dirt bikes. They say the groups block traffic, which pose serious safety risks to pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. Officials are urging parents to talk with their children about traffic laws. Violations can lead to tickets, fines, and even arrests.
We're still working to gather details about a shooting in suburban Carpentersville.
3 people were shot overnight. This happened in the 1200 block of Navajo Drive. Officials say the scene is secure and there is no threat to the public. They are asking people to avoid the area while police investigate, and we're going to continue to keep you updated.
A 3rd person has now died from a house fire in Streamwood. The victim and 2 others were rescued by firefighters on early Tuesday morning. 2 people were pronounced dead, and now officials say that the 3rd victim, 63-year-old Jacqueline Wines, has died. The cause of that fire remains under investigation. We're also seeing some long lines outside of a state resource center in Humboldt Park. This is video from yesterday of undocumented migrants lining up for health insurance, food, and money assistance. The Illinois Department of Human Services says that this program reopened for enrollment on July 1st.